Good afternoon, everybody. All eyes will be on Tampa the final week of August during the Republican National Convention. Tens of thousands of people are expected to descend on downtown Tampa, from the delegates inside the convention center to the expected 15,000 or so protesters outside, plus journalists from all around the world who will be here to cover the entire process. What will be open, what will be closed, what will traffic be like? Just the tip of the iceberg in a very long list of questions that local leaders are working on. And here with the very latest, we welcome to our studios Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn. Thanks so much for coming in.
It's good to be here, Lisa.
I'm sure that everywhere you go, you get questions about the RNC and what are we doing. So the first one I want to ask you is one that came in from our viewers. You know, what will downtown Tampa be like?
Well, downtown will be open for business. It just won't be business as usual.
Okay.
We intend to try and maintain as much normalcy as possible, understanding that we're going to have a whole different dynamic here in terms of traffic, in terms of the number of people that are in our downtown, both those that participate inside the convention as well as those that want to participate outside. And so folks need to understand that there will be some issues like congestion and parking that will be a challenge, but downtown will be open, and we want people to come down and enjoy the convention and experience democracy at the grassroots level.
Street closures, tell us about what you expect in that regard.
Well, the Secret Service is going to dictate most of the street closures. They're responsible for protecting the perimeter. They're responsible for protecting the nominee. You can assume, for discussion's sake, even though this is not official from the Secret Service, that the Platte Street Bridge will be closed, that portions of the crosstown for portions of the event will be closed, and perhaps for its entirety. And then everything from Brewerine to the water, the first Harbor Island Bridge, the second Harbor Island Bridge will be open, but everything inside that area around the convention center, around the Forum, around the Marriott and the Embassy Suites will be off limits to anybody without credentials. So that portion will be the focus of most of the convention activities. The protests and the public gatherings will all be on the outside.
Well, let's talk about the protests and the free speech zone. We have a map. I know it's changing, but tell us what folks can expect and how you all are planning for the demonstrations.
Well, we've devised what we call the clean zone, which will identify areas that will include eventually the protest routes, and the parade routes, the public viewing areas, because what the courts have said is that we have to allow people who want to express their First Amendment rights to be within sight and distance of the event. And so most of that will take place down around the Forum in some of those vacant parking lots around the Forum. But there is also a clean zone that encompasses most of downtown, portions of Ybor City, where certain types of weapons are prohibited. And these are things that we have learned from other cities and other jurisdictions that have hosted big events like this, what to expect. Because not everyone who will be here, Lizette, will be folks that are just wanting to come and express their opinion. There will be people here, as we saw in Chicago last week, who are intent on causing problems and disrupting the event, and in some cases destroying property and putting our police officers at risk.
Are our police officers training for that
They are training. We've been training for a year. We will deploy over 4,000 law enforcement personnel, including 3,000 personnel that I'm going to have to hire from all over the state of Florida that will come here as part of this event. If you can imagine what it was like when we hosted the Super Bowls, if you can imagine what we do every year for Gasparilla, just multiply that by about 10. Nice. And recognize that the world will be watching. I mean, we will be on a high wire. The entire world will be watching Tampa. That's a good thing.
It's exciting.
It is a very, very exciting thing. But there are some challenges that come with it.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and giving our viewers an update. Anytime you want to come back, you are more than welcome.
Sure, thanks.
And if you would like more information on all of the election coverage, we have a special website that's been created just for this. It's fldemocracy2012.com. And remember, you can follow Positively Tampa Bay by following us on Facebook.